This is Fins TV, a Miami Dolphins inspired podcast, fueled by the power of positivity. Here are your hosts, Fins Sammy and Steve Hallett.
Welcome to Fins TV, your host Fins Sammy, aka Fins Boxones, and welcome back, Steve, to a Happy New Year of Fins TV.
It is a new season of Fins TV. It is a brand new NFL season. Congratulations to all 32 NFL owners who just got a check for over $400 million, simply for owning an NFL team, whether you're good at it or not.
So jealous. So jealous. So
I am. Hell yeah, I am.
You know, it's been what can I say? A very interesting off season, kind of disappointing off season. That's why it's the Fins TV Clusterf Armageddon for Dolphins Nation. So let's get straight to it. So on this episode, we're gonna say goodbye to some of the players that left us. Raheem Monster and Jovan Holland between them. So it's kind of disappointing that so to lose some talent. But we're gonna talk about that. Also on the show, we're gonna talk about Chris Greer. Is this Chris Greer final hurrah as Dolphins general manager? And of course, it's the offseason. Dolphins cannot escape controversy even in the offseason. From his is too fat to Tyreek's new haircut to every single year, so to the rehash of the Incognito saga with Jonathan Martin. Everything always. And we're gonna dust up the old confidence meter to see how confident we're feeling right now on the Dolphins going to the draft, Steve. Someone were expecting a huge offseason for the Dolphins. I wasn't expecting such a big thing, but it was disappointing for my metrics. So we'll talk about that a lot today. So
just keep on setting your expectations lower, Sammy. Come on, man. Then you can't be disappointed.
I did that last year, and they still got me. So we'll see what happens. So we'll go straight to the first segment. In Memoriam, we say goodbye to some Dolphins. There you go.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.
Damn, who knew? All the planes we flew, good things we've been through. That I'll be standing right here talking to you about another path. I know we love to hit the road and laugh, but something told me that it wouldn't last. Had to switch up, look at things different, see the bigger picture. Those were the days, hard work forever pays. Now I see you in a better place. How can we not talk about family when family's all that we got? Everything I would do, you were standing there by my side. And now you gon' be with me for the last ride. And now you gon' be there for the last ride. Yeah, we came a long way. I'll see you again.
Well, Steve, the Dolphins losing season holder for touchdowns for him, Monster, and Jovan Hollis was for a long time such a great fan favorite. Had so promising 2 first years, and then he went off the cliff with the fan base, off the cliff with the production, getting hurt so much. But still pending the decision in Teron Armstead and Calais Campbell. If you ask me, basically, Teron Armstead seems like he's mostly gone, and Calais Campbell probably waiting to see what the Dolphins do to see if their Dolphins are concerned or not to returning. That's not looking so well. So my expectations again are not very high. So I want to know your thoughts about the Dolphins in Memoriam, the Dolphins that had less us during this offseason.
Well, your music was right for the last couple that you had on there, because I really do hope we see Calais Campbell and Teron Armstead again. The rest of them, I mean, seriously, Sammy, I have very little to say about this group, and it sounds bad, but I think it's just a reflection coming on the heels of a very disappointing 2024 campaign. I mean, we're on the least favorable side of this rebuild process. We're bargain shopping within free agency, and we're seeing players go. But I also think last off season free agency period was so intense for Dolphins fans because we had so much to lose. We saw players go that, sorry, Jason Sarney, who's going to be joining here in a moment, saw players leave that shouldn't have ever been let to even see what the door looked like, let alone walk through it. And others, we had a lot of fan favorites in Christian Wilkins and Hunt that we didn't want to see leave, but hey, we're getting comp picks in exchange for some of those. So, I mean, it's really, I can't say that there's a lot of loss. If there is one that I'm wishing we had, just because that group on our defense is so thin right now, it's Deshaun Hand. It would have been great to see a familiar face come back guaranteed. And with that, I just hope that, Calais Campbell does come back around. But if he doesn't, I can't say that I don't blame him.
Absolutely. Again, Calais Campbell was so useful for the Dolphins. They got so much for the dollar for what Calais Campbell did. But if you're him, if you're Calais and you're basically at the end of your career and you're looking for a contender, the Dolphins are probably not it. So no one will blame him if he leaves the Dolphins. Of course, if I'm Steven Ross and I say you have a job for life if you come back and you stay with the Dolphins, because he was his leadership. The guy, he is a former Man of the Year award winner, so you cannot price tag on that. So Teron Armstead, and we talked so much last year about leadership in the Dolphins. If the Dolphins lose Teron Armstead and Calais Campbell, not only the production on the field, but what they bring to the Dolphins is going to be a huge step down, Steve.
Oh, no doubt. It'll leave a void in a what I'll say is a very immature team. One of the biggest maturity pieces that this team had in 2024.
Absolutely. So it's going to be a very quick episode of Fins TV. We want to try to run by as fast as possible. It's the off season. It's not too much to talk about, but still, we're very proud to have our special guest today, Brittany from the Silent Teapot. George Albarran, right?
What's that?
George, are you there? George.
Yes.
I think George is frozen, but George should be back in a minute. For the Fins Table Pod, Fins TV family member, Jason Sarney, and Adrian Rainey. Long time no see, guys.
Welcome, everybody.
Thank you for having us.
Fins up, everybody.
We're going to start with Brittany. Brittany, again, low expectations for the Dolphins during the offseason, but for having low expectations, I think they surpassed that by far, the low expectations. What are your thoughts about the Dolphins offseason, the Dolphins played that less during the offseason?
I think right now we are bargain shopping. We haven't had, it's been very weird because normally we always get at least one big name and we haven't gotten that yet. And so I just don't know if we're going to or what's happening. It's just been kind of dull, I think. And I kind of agree with Steve. It wasn't that seeing the players go wasn't as bad as it was last year. Last year was really bad. There was a lot of players I was really upset about to see leave. Armstead, we still don't know. He may be retiring. Calais, I've heard that Miami's still in the mix for him. So he's not gone yet. And so I'm just going to keep hoping that we do something to be more of a contender and we can keep him. But yeah, other than that, not much.
So even though last year we lost a lot of players, for a regime that's basically on the cliff, the jobs on the line, you will expect a little bit more. So the loss seems to be a little even bigger this year when you consider that the Dolphins probably are losing so much players compared to last year. Let me see if we can get to George here. George, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me? My connection's for some reason acting up, but I think I'm.
No worries, George. Welcome to Fins TV. George Albarran from the Fins Faithful Pod. George, we were talking.
That's nothing more than a Fins TV curse because people get on here and their internet connection just goes to crap. So
at least you're not muted. That's a start.
I might be frozen, but if you can hear me, give me the thumbs up. Can you?
I can hear you.
Okay, good.
George, we were talking about with Brittany about how the expectations have been so low going to the 2025 season. But yet, for low expectations, the Dolphins have far surpassed that. What are your thoughts about the players that lost the Dolphins lost during the offseason? Raheem Mostert, Jason Hallett, and others.
Yeah, I don't think nothing surprised me. Nothing big. I mean, this kind of offseason for me hasn't really moved the needle one way or another. It's kind of indifferent for me. The guys that left, I expected, so nothing surprising for me that happened so far, as far as the players that left.
Steve?
No, I mean I think that's extremely accurate because, when coming off of the 2023 season, had we lost Mostert, George, that would have been a huge thing because you're watching that many touchdowns. That much, production go out the door. Coming on the heels of a 2024 campaign that was a huge letdown from the previous season, seeing somebody like Mostert go out the door isn't that big of a deal. Taking a 1-year flyer on a Kendall Fuller, who? I mean, really, it really didn't see much from him on the field that I was like, damn, that hurts, right?
I think it's more of what they, as far as what they brought in. And I guess we'll get to that, but that's more of what I think the issue I have. I wanted them to be a little more aggressive and kind of attack certain positions because I think, we'll get to that in a bit. I think they left themselves a little open. If it ended today and we're going to the draft, they've left themselves a little open here to kind of have to be desperate, and that's something you don't want to do.
Absolutely. Brittany, you wanted to say something? I think I heard you say something.
Oh, I was just agreeing with Steve about Mostert. We hardly saw him. It was crazy, the difference.
Absolutely. We're going to talk about his replacement during the next segment. But Jason, welcome back to Fins TV. Long time no see. How's your season going, Jason?
Always a pleasure, Sammy, being on here with you guys. And off season's been on with my buddy George on the on season. But other than that, it's been an underwhelming, as you guys will all say. I agree with you. A couple of singles in terms of signings, no home runs. It did not move the win total up. My worry is how many losses it moved up. So I don't think we moved back so far, but there was a little step back in terms of talent. And I'm really curious to see what they do with 10 picks in the draft. I think that any position really in their top 5 need cornerback, defensive tackle. You can even say safety, wide receiver. There's a lot of need. So the 13th overall pick, wide open. So let's see what they do in the draft. But underwhelming so far free agency.
Absolutely. Adrian, long time. Well, the salary cap certainly has to be, one of the key issues for the Dolphins. We talked last year about how the salary cap is going to be a problem in the coming years, but yet the Dolphins find a way to make salary cap, but they did not touch Tua's contract. So therefore, the Dolphins see some players go, but like others, like we've been saying, the loss have not been massive. We'll talk next time about the replacement, if they're capable or not. But I don't know your thoughts about the losses of the Dolphins during the offseason.
I think it's right on point with everybody else on the panel, man. It's, pretty underwhelming. No surprises. I do think the biggest off-season move so far was not restructuring Tua's contract to free up money.
No, don't touch it.
I think that says a lot about what they think, about him going into this season. So I think that was probably the biggest move that we didn't make. So, but other than that,
but a good move.
No surprises. Yeah, definitely.
So, I mean, if just go real quick around the group here, if there's one player that we lost this offseason, who do you think is the biggest loss? Because I think we're all in agreement that we're not surprised at anybody that walked out the door. But I'll just go in order on the screen here: Brittany, Jason, Adrian, and George. Any big major loss that you're like, dang, we really could have kept that person? It would have been nice.
The first one that comes to my mind is I don't understand why we didn't keep Saran Neal. He was a great special team. That didn't make sense to me. Everybody else, I knew it was happening. So yeah, I was okay with it. Saran Neal, I didn't understand that.
Yeah. Jason?
Really good answer. I'm not going to miss anybody horribly. I would have liked to see them give a year deal to Rob Jones as a reserve, not as a starter. That would have been, as like the 6th or 7th guy. I would have been fine with that because I do like his game. I do like his story. But other than that, I'll say the biggest miss was Kendall Fuller. He did not.
I forgot about that because that happened so early. But yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to miss him, but that move last year, it was a huge miss. So it just didn't work out. Sometimes that happens.
Adrian. Hey, by the way, Adrian, fantastic meeting you face-to-face on Sunday. My man made the trip up here, got a chance to sit down, eat some food, have some drinks. It's always a pleasure meeting people first and new, but beautiful family. Had a great time with you, man.
Same here, man. It was awesome. You're Jock too, bro. Gym, man. But yeah, nobody really, man. I'm not surprised about anything. I love Brittany's answer, Saran Neal, but because he was great for us. But I mean, not surprised at all. We knew Javon Holland was gone. We knew Raheem was probably going to be a cap casualty. They didn't even use him last year, so I mean, Rob Jones. Jason's right. That probably would have been a nice little backup. He knows the scheme, We know
we're going to need him at some point.
Exactly. But other than I'm more surprised about like who they didn't go after in free agency. But I know we didn't have any money, so we were going to be bargain shoppers regardless. That's just story of Miami Dolphins, man. They're always going to underwhelm.
George, anybody got Saran Neal on the board here? What you got?
Yeah, I kind of piggyback off Jason with Kendall Fuller just because looking at the cornerback room, they haven't really replaced him. So it's kind of concerning. I would go Fuller is probably the biggest impact loss that they have. But the rest of the guys, Saran Neal and Rob Jones, they decided Eichenberg over Jones. That was interesting. I had to do it. I had to do it, Brittany.
Also, I think Kendall Fuller was more so, just from people I've talked to, it was the concussions. It had nothing to do with his performance or anything like that. It was more so that, which is funny.
Yeah. Sammy, what do we got, man?
Basically, Will Fuller, by the contract they got him from, it was a very okay contract. He played okay while he played, but those concussions, that was the end. There was no.
He played great when he played.
Yeah. But he kept getting hurt, and those concussions was the end. Javon Holland probably disappointed that he didn't took the offense offer last year. Probably more money than what he got from the Giants. He was expecting a very good contract, but Javon Holland's, of course, production in the field last few years with the injuries and stuff have been declining. So. I don't see a huge loss. The problem will be that if it's not a huge loss, who did they replace it with? And that's what we're going to talk about on the next segment. The additions of the Dolphins, and we're going to see if it's basically what the Dolphins are going to do now with the additions. Let's go to. It's been a very interesting offseason nonetheless. It's a unit tradition by now. The Doom said the scroll of Doom, the off-season scroll of Doom.
Oh, that
Steve,
was so good. I was laughing so hard.
It wouldn't
it's
be
a
a
unit
Dolphins,
tradition by now.
it wouldn't be a Dolphins off season without Twitter, X, social media just going into total meltdown mode over what Chris Greer does or does not do. But I would probably do some very, very borderline illegal things to be able to get Chris Greer on air to read mean tweets about himself.
Oh, that is
my God.
That is so
How
good.
phenomenal would
What an
that be?
idea.
Just to
He
have
wouldn't.
him sit there. Oh, I know he would. I mean, of course not. You know,
He's just
but
he's
that'd be
cowardly like that.
hilarious. That'd be
But
hilarious.
I think we all we just talked about free agency, and we all forgot about how we started off free agency with signing Zach Wilson.
Oh, I didn't forget. I haven't slept since.
That's how that should have been our sign of how this is going to happen. This is where it's going, and these are the vibes.
I could not find that tweet that say hi your moms with the submissions.
Oh God.
Well, Steve, again, if the scroll of doom for the Dolphins again this year, Chris Greer probably if he doesn't get his right, it will be the last hurrah. I'm gonna give you my theory at the end of the segment, but I want to know your thoughts on the Dolphins free agent the Dolphins have added. Let me see if I can get over here. Okay, here's the list. Basically, some of the list. We have the Dolphins added James Daniels at guard, Ifatu Melafanu as safety. I think I got that right. Zach Wilson, of course, we talk about him. Artie Burns, former first-round pick who has not given any dividends. Cornerback, Ashanti Davis and Nick Westrum Ikine, wide receiver. A lot of Dolphins fans are happy about that. Well, of course, anything is an upgrade over OBJ, so that's good news. Alexander Madison at running back. KJ Britt. Britt is very happy. He's probably going to get a jersey with his name on the back. KJ Britt, the linebacker from the former of the Buccaneers. Pharaoh Brown, a tight end. That should be an upgrade over Julian Hills, hopefully. And Ryan Stonehouse, the punter. Again, another upgrade probably at punting. So the Dolphins, that's the question. The Dolphins basically did some upgrading. That is not huge considering what they lost. But, there's still time. The Dolphins, my theory as far as the roster is that probably they probably told Greer and McDaniel, basically you have the guys in the building. This is the guys you wanted last year for us to resign. We gave you the budget. You extended your Hill, Waddle, Tua. You're now married to them. You basically need to find a way to save your jobs with those guys we extended last year. What are your thoughts about the Dolphins additions this year, Steve?
Well, I mean, okay, got to be real. I really failed Greer. I gave him a pretty poor grade last offseason, and I liked a couple of the moves, but, Aaron Brewer, I was very disappointed because he was a very small center in a line that we needed a big upgrade. Mm-hmm. That considered, he still had an extremely solid season, from what I expected out of him. But if I'm looking at who we picked up and I'm rating them from green being good to down to red being bad, I think James Daniels is extremely solid signing. KJ Britt, very good. Pharaoh Brown, Julian Hill is good for a couple boneheaded plays and some really bad penalties every single week. And Pharaoh Brown is there.
I'm so cursed too.
Anybody that's coming onto the field with a chance to keep Julian Hill's ass off the field, I'm going to give him an A. So I'll take that no matter what.
Yes,
Tyrell
that's
Dodson,
an upgrade.
If we're looking at re-signings, Terrell Dodson, I'm excited about that. Elijah Campbell, solid player, not so much for what he's going to do in the defensive backfield, but he's a solid special teamer and he's always there. Quentin Bell, I was excited to see him come back. Kader Kohu, restricted free agent tender. Hopefully they keep him around. And then again, Armstead and Chubb. Really hope to see them stick around with the restructures that they did. Alexander Madison, for anything, my wife is a huge Alexander Hamilton fan, and every time he touches the ball, I get to hear her sing Alexander Madison. So, really, Ryan Stonehouse. I mean, seriously. Okay, great. He's averaged 3 more yards per punt than Bailey did last season. But we have Bailey still for another season. We let him go. We're going to still take a $500,000 cap hit or something like that, dead money. I don't know. Again, I've been wrong in the past for being either way too hyped about what we've done with the big splash signings in free agency, but I've also been proven slightly wrong for being disappointed when they're not out there making that big splash. So again, I'm just kind of like team no expectations, and
Prove it.
I'm kind of numb. Prove it. Thank you, Brittany. I don't know. What do you think?
That's great.
I'll go.
Brittany, what are your thoughts?
Adrian is shot here.
Go ahead, Adrian.
Man. I think got a lot of hopefuls. It's a lot of hope there. And you know what the Dolphins do with that hope. But I don't think nobody, like you guys said earlier, moves the needle. I mean, he did what he could with the money that he had. I do think we added a lot of physicality to the team with those safeties, Britt at linebacker, um, Farrell Brown, at tight end. I think that's a lot of physicality. Madsen, short yardage, but nobody really is gonna, that we can say now, point blank, that's gonna, we got to win because of that person. So I think we just got a lot of hopeful people, and we just gonna hope that they do well on this team and they'll fit into the scheme. And Mike McDaniel will use them well. I mean, that's all we got right now. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it is when we get into training camp and the preseason games. See how they're being used, because I mean, it's 50% of that is how they're being used, and if you don't use them, then there's no point. So I think we just got a lot of hope, Steve.
100%, no doubt. And George, Brittany, George, who wants to take a shot at this next one? 'Cause I got a question for you at the end of this one too.
I'll jump in. I do want to say I do think that we moved the needle on guard, because who were we dealing with before? So James Daniels, yeah, he had an Achilles injury. If he can come back, they're saying he'll be ready by May. If he can come back in May, near where he was pre his injury, we got a steal out of that. So I think that does move the needle for us in that position, considering where
You're still hoping, though. You're hoping that it goes.
You know what?
You know
what, Adrian, you're right. You're right.
That's what we do.
Yeah, gosh darn it.
I'm not hearing anybody praise the Zach Wilson move, so I'm going to go with who wants to give some praise for the Zach Wilson move?
I'll jump in. Again, I apologize for my connection, guys, but you guys can hear me.
No, don't worry.
We can hear you just
fine.
Glad
to have you here.
Okay, so I'll start with the Zach Wilson. I actually had Ben Albright on my show that day, and Ben was like, listen, man, I'm telling you they like Zach Wilson. I don't know what's going to happen, but, that's the word I'm getting. And, Zach was in Denver, and Ben is a Broncos insider. There's nobody more plugged in. And then 30 minutes later, they signed Zach Wilson. The thing with Zach is, for me, guys, all those free agent quarterbacks were about the same. None of them were moving the needle. None of them were, they're all kind of grouped together. At least he's young. There's some arm talent there. He was a former, second pick overall. I know by the end of the season, in the background, Ben was telling me off air that they really liked what they seen out of him, like the development. He's going from Peyton now to Mike McDaniel. So you take a shot here. I'm fine with that. As far as the overall free agency, for me, I agree with Brittany. James Daniels is the one who's the clear upgrade here. And I'll tell you, healthy, watching the film on him, pass run blocking, this guy can be a Pro Bowler in this system. But I also like Melifonu, the safety. He's a big kid, 6'3", 210, really good in 23. 24 was hurt, play in the box. It's pretty decent in pass coverage. So, he's a guy that takes, if we're talking draft, he takes Emon Wari off the board, and you look more Malachi Starks with that type of player, and the wide receiver. I call him NWI. We'll leave it at that. I'm not going to pronounce his name. I think you upgraded at the third receiver. But overall, well, Malik, and then remember we still got Taj Washington. So for me, the problem there is I wanted them to be more aggressive. I thought they were going to be more aggressive on the offensive line, something like Chicago's doing. I know it's gonna cost money, but we're in the business of protecting probably the least durable quarterback in the NFL. That's why all that money at wide receiver. I know you're going to talk about roster construction, but it's $50 million plus a year and not enough money on the offensive line. I would have liked him to. I thought we were going to see more of a change to more of a physical front and more of a physical brand or a personnel group they can bring into the field. Doesn't look like that. And the last point I'll make is they have to hit a home run in this draft now. and not just drafting Chop Robinson and the rest of your draft picks don't play. Like the first 2 picks have to be good, but also have to make an impact.
Definitely.
I think also too though is if you look at the guys that we did sign, it almost seems as if we're having like a mentality rebuild. Like that locker room is changing with these signings, and so who knows? We might be looking like Mighty Ducks, but I think that there is definitely going to be some form of mentality locker room change. Is it going to be for the better, the worse? Who knows? I mean, I don't even know if it can get worse, to be honest. But we're here.
Steve, we have a question for Brittany in the chat. Question for Brittany: does she think Eichenberg can be in the drill?
What is the Oklahoma drill?
Wants to spray with exactly.
Oh, I mean, he'll be on the ground, so yeah, I win.
Absolutely. Jason, what are your thoughts about the Dolphins' free agency so far?
I mean, look, I like the potential of these guys checking a box of a job that they need to do. What I mean by that is you're horrible on short yardage because, number one, you don't have good interior line play. Number two, you didn't have a running back capable of running forward a couple of feet to do that. They bring in a James Daniels, as Brittany says, who I like if healthy. If healthy, that's the marketing slogan for this year. If healthy, he could be pencil him in at right guard.
Every year.
So if you got your right guard, you got a little component where you can move the football on short yardage. Is Alexander Madison the guy who could pick up first downs when you literally only need to move a yard or so? They were scared of these short yardage situations last year. So if they could fix we couldn't, exactly. It was a mixture of...
It was almost better if we got a penalty and got moved back.
Which is almost why they were doing these extensive, weird, lateral plays.
That's why they brought back Eichenberg for his little acting.
Julian Hill. Jeez.
But I will say, the player who I think could make the most impact on the scoreboard is Nick Westbrook-Akine, because I like his red zone production. I like when you could put him and Jonnu Smith in the red zone, inside the 10. NWI had 6 red zone touchdowns last year. Jonnu had 7. So, you know what? It could be a nice mixture with the speed. Now it creates a lot of questions and potential mismatches. Is he going to be, a 70 catch, 1,200 yard, 12 touchdown guy? No. But he was a nice for the job. In the red zone, let's see if he can block well, which is also something else that he's, advertised being pretty good at. And that's really it. Very underwhelming overall. Last year, at least, you knew that you were getting 3 or 4 starters. You knew Jordan Brooks was going to play right away. You knew Kendall Fuller was going to play right away. You knew Jonnu Smith was going to be involved. They just didn't use him. Calais, of course. Like, you knew players were going to do things. If is any one of these guys a shoe-in to play 90 snaps at their position? I don't know. 90% of the snaps.
No, but we hope so.
We hope
they better be.
We hope so.
Right, but no one is a home run here. The best re-signing, in my opinion, was Terrell Dodson. Did not want to see him succeed somewhere else. I would have been furious. I would have been furious if someone took him and he became a Pro Bowl player. I'm not saying he's a Pro Bowl player, but I'm not saying he's not. We have him for
how many interceptions did he have?
Here's Steve. I know you love.
That's insane.
You know what? We retained last year's Miami Dolphins interception leader, Tyrell Dodson, at 3, a linebacker who played in 8 games.
Insane.
No, it was incredible. And you guys bring up a lot of good points here. George, first and foremost, you bring up a point of being able to protect Tua, and you really, I think for years, the majority of us have been going against the Greer grain of we're more concerned about the offensive line. We've screamed that we need a more physical team, whereas McDaniel and everybody's like finesse, speed, fancy stuff, and we're getting our asses handed to us the last 2-3 months out of the season. And we've been hoping for that. So you really hope that it's going to happen. But as evidenced last year, we can protect Tua as much as we possibly can. But if he's not protecting himself, then we're screwed. And then we are going to have Zach Wilson there. And you know what? I hope I'm wrong. I hope that Zach Wilson becomes the player that isn't the Ryan Leaf of the second overall picks. But I don't know. Name a better one that redeemed himself. But we just don't know. Westbrook, I really hope that he's good. The one thing about the players that I've always really enjoyed is when they're hungry. And I forget who it was. I saw a couple posts out there that talked about how hungry he was because he was underrated. He's had to claw his way up from the bottom. It's those types of players that play because they're being given a chance. It's the Kohus. It's those undrafted players that go out there, prove it, and do it. And then, Brittany, to your point about the mentality change, when you said it, I was like, can it get worse? Maybe it could. I don't know, but it would be really wonderful to see this team turn into one that is literally, 40 minutes away from South Beach, but the South Beach of the league, and they're on vacation all the time. And Jordan Poyer comes in here, and the first time at the mic talks about how soft of a team we are. And so really hope that we are headed for a mentality change. But then, we'll get into segment 3 here.
It starts all the way up at the top, though.
Where we talk about the team in general, off-season after off-season, and the culture really isn't improving enough. Great points by everybody.
I want to go back. You asked about Zach Wilson. Question is, of all the quarterbacks, returning quarterbacks, is Zach Wilson probably the best gifted one, physically gifted one, the more mobility, the better arm compared to other ones? Is he? Yes or no, Steve?
I don't remember the last time I saw Zach Wilson throw a good football, so I literally cannot answer that.
Accurate? No, with power, with
I don't remember the last time I saw Zach Wilson actually on the field in a game that really mattered. So I'm not.
I think it was the Dolphins, right?
Here. It probably was, and he probably ran our asses into the ground. But I don't know. Garoppolo was probably the one that I was hoping for, but the guy can't stay healthy. So I don't know.
And Garoppolo in that Miami scene, they're gonna have too many distractions. But again, if Mike McDaniel finds a way to rehab Zach Wilson, he's gonna have a job for life in the NFL. Because if he did what Zach Wilson what he did for Tua, he's gonna. If he gets fired in Miami, he's gonna get a job just like that. He's probably gonna take Zach Wilson too. So we'll see what happens. Yes, please, Benny.
I was talking to my buddy who's not a Dolphins fan, and he reminded me, because I was like crying about Zach Wilson. He reminded me about his pro day and how great of a pro day he did and how good his arm is. He reminded me that, we do have a coach who, look what he did with Tua. He could probably do something with Zach. He reminded me that he had a better record with a worse Jets team than future Hall of Famer Aaron Rodgers did. So, there is something in there. Maybe he needs a coach that believes in him. I have questions because I just don't know if he's good for our scheme. I think we are very quick, and I don't think he's very quick, but we'll see. And I can only stay positive.
So
this is a positivity podcast, so that's good.
Even when Matt is not here, there has managed to be somebody on the show that can walk me back off the ledge about something. So that's incredible.
There you go.
And actually, for what I like on the backup is, since they always say 2 against all the reps. I want a backup that has mobility, that can improvise to do something because it's not going to get a lot of reps, and probably who can push the ball down the field because Mike McDaniel cannot change his scheme to save his life. But if you are good enough on an arm, probably you have a chance. And the other thing is, every Jets quarterback has failed with the Jets and found a way to succeed. Geno Smith succeeded with the Seahawks. Sam Darnold succeeded. I don't know if it remains to be seen, but don't be surprised if he goes to Minnesota or someone else and revives his career. So maybe you cannot judge a quarterback because he's a Jets quarterback. Because Man's not here, but the Jets are not even a football team without him. So it's going to be seen. One last question before we leave the segment. I'm going to go around the horn here. I'm going to start with George. George, do you believe this today, on March 18th, is this Chris Weir's last hurrah? Do you think after the year of what you're seeing right now, you can predict the future? Do you think this is Chris Weir's final year?
Boy, I've thought that for a few years now. My gut will say if things would really have to implode, like they would have to win. I think if they come back and have a similar season to last year, maybe they win 9-10 games, they love him in that building. And I know Ross just doesn't want to go through the process. A little known fact is that Dennis Hickey, I don't know if you guys remember Dennis Hickey.
Yes.
That whole saga has messed him up because the one thing about Greer, he trusts him. He knows he can operate day to day, and that's something he values in a guy who's 80+ years old. I think still it would have to implode. And keep an eye on. I talked about it yesterday on my show. Champ Kelly. This guy's not Reggie McKenzie. He's not Marvin Allen. He's a young and up and coming personnel guy. Has Mike Shanahan connections. I think he's going to have a little juice in that building. Like maybe Greer gets a promotion, but not really a promotion. They change his title and kind of less football say, and that might be better for him because the one thing Greer is more of a connector of people. He's not really a conviction, bang the table kind of guy. I would say if it implodes, yes. If it kind of goes 9-10 wins, maybe they kind of have to do something. They move him to a different title, and Champ Kelly takes over.
How about you, Adrian? Do you think this is Greer last hurrah with the Dolphins final year?
I hope so. I really fucking
I'm
hope
hoping.
Same here.
I'm telling you,
Same here.
Done with this dude, man. Hopefully he does get another title and he can stay away from the football because I mean I like some of the things Chris Greer has done. He hasn't been terrible, but like for his tenure, he didn't put together some good teams. It's just injury always kills us most of the time. But I mean, if you move on from him, then you got to move on from Mike McDaniel too. I think it's a package deal, and you just start clean slate. But I think definitely this is, especially if we don't make it to the playoffs or win a playoff game. I feel like you got to win probably two playoff games. But if we don't make it to the playoffs at all, he got to go. That's it.
Let's start with one, Adrian.
Champ Kelly has agreed to join the Dolphins as a senior personnel executive. Did you guys just see that?
Yeah, that was a few days. That's the guy I was talking about. Was it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the guy from the Raiders. Brittany, go to you. What are your thoughts on Chris Greer last hurrah?
He's not going anywhere, and he's not going to go anywhere for a very, very, very long time. I can confidently say he's not leaving. It doesn't matter if we suck, if we don't do crap. He's not going anywhere. I'm sorry, but he's just not.
How about you, Jason?
Terrible.
We're stuck. We're stuck. We are literally stuck with him.
You've seen this
for life.
For a very long time.
It's almost like I'm not going to disagree with Brittany because she's kind of right. It's as much as I don't want to see him there, they would have gotten rid of him 2 more times already. Like it's almost like he's Teflon. But I've been a supporter of his until last year, until really I kind of fell off and.
Same.
The 2020 draft. Let's just go back a little bit if we're going to talk about Greer. He started the 2019 rebuild with the mentality of the New England Patriots and went into the 2020 draft, which should have built the foundation. That didn't work. The mindset of the Patriots didn't work. So we flipped over to the San Francisco 49ers mindset. Let's get some players from them. Shanahan, the whole mindset, the whole offense, McDaniel, everything. That doesn't seem to work. So now it's almost like, is it going to be his own vision? Is it going to be a new vision? What is he
doesn't even have one. He doesn't have one. He's a chameleon. He's a chameleon.
That's exactly what I'm saying. It's like I was really excited in 2019 that you bring in, oh my God, it's a New England Patriot dynasty. You bring in the coach, you bring in McKenzie, you bring in Boyer, you bring in, I was calling it like, New England South. We all were. And it just didn't work. And you're right, Brittany. The chameleon, it's all cool, just like Liam Eichenberg can play 5 positions, but I'd rather you master one. If Greer can come out and say, you know what, this is my own vision, and prove it, because if you're going to keep on doing the same thing, which he's been doing, it's not going to work. And I don't think this team is a playoff team right now. They have not become a better team. And to me, it would be bothersome if they don't win a playoff game and he stays. But I agree with you. I don't think they're going anywhere.
I gotta stop putting that in the universe, man.
It's not the universe.
You gotta get into the universe, get this dude out of here.
Sometimes people are just stuck in
it's a business. It's a business thing.
Terrible.
It's just not going anywhere.
That's so bad.
Just to add on what Brittany says, yeah, she's right. It's a business thing, and they love him in the building, and also Tom Garfinkel is very involved, and that's a connection there. Like, those are the things that we don't talk about enough, but he's in the football decisions. And yeah, I agree with Brittany. She's right. Unfortunately, I think, Brittany, I don't know if you agree, maybe like a title change and you put another GM title on somebody else.
Get him
maybe
away from the football, yeah.
He's going to keep that title.
Yeah.
How are you, Steve?
What do you know? Who do you know?
I don't know.
You seem
Brittany's
very
got me
confident in this.
scared because of her
Yeah,
level of
that's what I'm
confidence
saying.
here. But
She
George brought up
knows.
a point because it was actually reported 2 months ago, 50, 60 days ago, that there were rumors that Chris Greer could take a different role but move out of that GM role. So
It would have to be some sort of like presidential
Yeah.
CEO ownership type of.
Oh, he's
role.
still going to be in the executive management team. He'll keep his face on page one of the who's who of the Dolphins. I don't give a damn, but I'm in the camp of get him the hell away from making the decisions because he has no conviction. He has no this is my stamp. This is my type of GM of who I am.
But this is where it also is. Oh, go ahead, Steve.
No, I mean I really don't. I don't think that Ross has a iota of spine when it comes to leading this team with an iron fist. I don't want a Jerry Jones as an owner, but I also don't want somebody who just, basically spends the entire time being bent over by whoever it is that's in his executive management team and just giving it to him every year. And he's like, okay, I guess I'll take it.
That potential title thing would be, I don't know if that would work because prior to when Greer took the general manager title, there was Mike Tannenbaum, who was the VP of football operations. So if you look back, who drafted Tunsil? Was it Greer or was it Tannenbaum saying, oh, he slid, take him? So if Greer is going to get another title, he's still going to control what happens.
That's the thing. It's like,
he's still going to control it. You can call him the janitor.
That's why it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. If he's in the building, it's going to be his. Yep. Right. It's his vision. But my problem is you tried to replicate two visions and it didn't work. Show us something completely different. It would be something completely different if he doesn't, follow his draft patterns. If he does something a little shocking in the first round, I'm okay with that. If he goes with
what
the
would
best
be shocking?
Guard. If he goes with a guard. If he goes with the best guard. If he goes
for a quarterback.
If he trades, that would be shocking. But
that would be even more shocking. Yes.
Another shocking thing, I'll make a couple of people happy and a couple of people hate. If a shocking move for Greer would be if Ty Warren is on the board. I'm not going to say it would be a bad pick, but the Dolphins, nor Greer, of course, have ever drafted a tight end in the first. So there's one or
did you?
Two things that
that
would be shocking to me.
Well, personally, I think this is Chris Greer last hurrah. I think there's like Steve said, there was report last season that
Already knows.
he might be stepping down. I do believe this is last year. I think it's his last hurrah, and I think they're gonna find a way to ease him out of the building. They probably found a way to already groom his replacement. So that's a way. I think probably Stephen Ross lost Mike McDaniel, and probably does one way to face him out is moves to his Greer and find a GM that can work with Mike McDaniel. I would not be shocked if next year Steve is. This is after the draft or maybe during the season, Greer steps aside. Let's do this something. Let's reconvene a year from now. Let's see what happens. Okay, so let's see. So next we're gonna go about the Dolphins off-season turmoil. Well, the Miami Dolphins off-season have frequently been marred by a consistent undercurrent of controversy ranging from allegations of tampering to internal playing disputes, from investigation into owner Stephen Ross alleged tampering with Tom Brady and Sean Payton to the rehash of the Richie Incognito Jonathan Matei saga to the off-field antics of Tyreek Hill, to mention a few. These situations have created persistent off-field distractions, not to mention the infatuation of some in the media and Fins Nation with Tua Tagovailoa's off-season weight. Furthermore, decisions regarding the roster construction, such as perceived shortcomings in addressing offensive line, backup safety, the safety and other positions, the pattern that had led to the perception that the Dolphins are perpetually navigating in the landscape of off-season turbulence. After years of off-season controversies, how does it impact your overall excitement of optimism heading into the season? Steve, every season there's something else. It's hard to be a Dolphins fan, even with the off-season, sometimes even more disappointed than the season. There used to be a time that Dolphins fans, we're not winning playoff games, but at least we have the season. We concentrated on the free agency and the draft, and we had some fun on that. But lately, every off-season has been marred by something. Even when they have rehashed the Jonathan Martin, Richard Colito saga from, 10, 15 years ago, I remember. But Steve, it's hard to be a Dolphins fan sometimes. So what are your thoughts about the constant turmoil of the off-season of the Dolphins?
The 2024 season, I don't want to say it really put a dent in my fandom, but it shook my confidence and really made me kind of question how much I wanted to be emotionally vested in this team 24/7, 365. And it sucks because here I am, a co-host on Fins TV, and I'm having to say these things, but I'm not lying. We went from such a high impact, again, finesse, which I disagreed with at the time in the middle of 2023 season, but we went from such a high impact, fun team to watch to totally crapping the bed in 2024.
Embarrassing.
And the lack of change and my lack of confidence in this team's culture to change, because again, who's at the top? Who's the GM? If Tom Garfinkel, look, I love the guy. He's got a blank checkbook to do whatever the hell Steve Ross wants. But if he's that connected to these people, then Brittany's right. Greer's not going anywhere. But Mike McDaniel is the person at the helm of this team, and I need some type of a little glimmer of hope that he's capable of changing who he's doing, because if not, then the turmoil, the turbulence, just this constant get my hopes up, get let down, get my hopes up, get let down. It's led me literally, it's not just a saying, my expectations are low. I have no expectations. My hopium, as Cap for Life loves to say all the time in our chat thing here, is I don't drink it anymore because it's just, I've got too much crap going on in my life to sit here and let the Dolphins constantly get me up on, keep on giving me whiplash every year. So it's frustrating, and you really hope that there'd be more, but the Dolphins, I don't know, man, they make me cry. It's not just a song, man. They literally do.
Jason, I'm going to go next to you. It's a roller coaster of a season, but it's even more of a roller coaster of your season. It's tough to be a Dolphins fan. The phrase "that's the Dolphins" every offseason, there's something else. So, what are your thoughts about how tough is to be a Dolphins fan right now, and probably the last 20 years, because the Dolphins haven't found a way to win a playoff game?
It's extremely tough. I mean, it's kudos to every one of us who continue to talk and love this team and continue to actually put their content out there, because it's very, very hard to see some of these mistakes not be rectified. And to kind of tie into like last segment with Grier, they've actually kind of blindly led a little plan to retain Grier. If McDaniel doesn't work out, in my opinion, just put Anthony Weaver as head coach. You flip that mentality and let him lead the team if McDaniel doesn't work out. This way you have Grier obviously still doing his thing there. But besides that, there's so much annoying drama that has been circulating this team. It would be nice to just focus on football and developing players and winning playoff games. We've gone away from that way too much. Quarterback controversies, coaching controversies, general manager controversies, ownership crap. It's a quarter of a century of the same mess, just different specifics. So
even your dog agrees.
Always. He has his own comments too. But until playoff victories start happening consistently, we're probably going to see more off-season turmoil than we are on-field success. So it is what it is.
How about you, Brittany? How tough is it to be a Dolphins fan right now? And every single season there's something new. Last year was the ball incident with Tyreek Hill. This year is the ball incident with Tua's weight. So what are your thoughts about the controversy every single offseason?
Listen, it is a rough time being a Dolphins fan. It's even more rough when, like Jason said, you're a content creator. We have Sideline Tea, and us girls, we just lost it. And we're like, we're in Cancun. We're going to be in Cancun for the rest of the season. Like, why are we doing this right now? We're not enjoying ourselves. We're not going to fake it. No, we're just not doing anything. And I'm still there. Like, I'm still in Cancun right now. I do want to say something about the Tua pitcher. Like, he's getting a lot of hate. You guys, he's a quarterback. Like, look at Patrick Mahomes. He went viral for his dad bod. Tua's coming off a hip injury. He couldn't work out. Like, shut up. Everyone just shut up. Leave Tua alone. Like, it's so stupid. Get a hobby. Like, grow up. I don't know.
Seriously.
It's just so annoying. He's a quarterback, for crying out loud. Like, who cares? That's
There's been topics where the whole podcast have been about Tua's weight. Again, it's mind-boggling.
It's so every last season, all we were talking about was skinny Tua. This season, all we're talking about is fat Tua. Like he
and this
can't
is before
win.
we fat Tua too. So
He cannot win.
They should be celebrating it because the last time Thick Tua was around, he actually played 17 games.
Exactly.
I'm so happy to see him looking like this.
This is one of the benefits of really just avoiding social media, which I've done for several months now, is I didn't even really know that I saw a picture and then I forgot all about it. So, but, so
I know, but you have like those accounts that like, literally their only thing to do is
100%.
Of all the things, that was probably the biggest nothing burger of the offseason. Is who cares?
It was a whole week. It was the topic of a whole week.
My whole timeline when that picture came out, that's all I saw. I just kept scrolling, and I'm like, are you guys really this bored right now? Are you really this bored?
It's the off season, but no. So off season disappointments, and Adrian, I'm going to bring this to you right now because we're sitting across the table, chewing on food, catching up, on Sunday. You were one of your favorite players of all time, had one of the biggest letdowns of Dolphins fandom history in the offseason, Ricky Williams. So we're going back 20 years, not 20 years, but a long time, we're no strangers to this offseason crap that we're dealt,
Yeah, definitely. And it's pretty bad. Like, it's pretty shameful what this half of the Dolphins fandom then became when we're talking about Tua enjoying himself on his off season, drinking a beer, and just because he looks like he's not in football shape right now,
Still looks better than everyone talking shit. Oh, sorry.
Exactly. No, you ain't lying. You ain't lying. And we're talking about Tyreek Hill. They want to talk about how we're talking about haircuts and people being overweight. Like, we serious right now?
Are we the unserious ones?
There are a lot worse
maybe
things.
we don't take it as serious as they do, and maybe we're at fault for that. Maybe we should be more invested, But I'm not gonna. I mean, that dude can live his life, man. It's his off season. We don't have nothing to talk about.
He's a quarterback of the Miami Dolphins. Every one of us would be doing the same exact thing. And
George, there was
a lot worse than that.
George, there was a period of time the Dolphins were talking about Mike McDaniel's backpack. There was a conversation like for 2 days. The backpack that Mike McDaniel was using to the combine.
I can't.
I want your thoughts about.
Like Brittany said, you got those accounts that they don't care. They just want to talk about everything that's wrong, and they'll find it. They'll find it and they'll put it out there, and then it's just what is the title for this? A clusterfuck of just.
You didn't have
no longer PG rated. That's the second one, man.
All right, I got one more.
I'm sorry. Now I was responsible. I'm sorry.
Well, remember, Adrian, we leave the cursing for the big finish. So, George, I want to know your thoughts about that. The constant turmoil, clusterfuck, everything the Dolphins during their season. 20 years, the Dolphins no playoff, but they find a way to every single season be marked by controversy. What are your thoughts, George?
Yeah. I'm actually happy to see you two putting on this weight. I mean, skinny Tua it's not it, man. And the more weight, the better for him. He's not an athlete. He's not moving around. He's not. That's not his game. He's a quarterback. He's not a football player. A lot of people like to say that. He's just a guy who throws the ball with ease and excellence. Put on more weight. Enjoy yourself. He's got a family now, and the rest of it is just BS. It's all this sensitive stuff, and it kind of seeps into the locker room. It makes the players sensitive. Enough's enough, man. And as far as the turmoil, I don't have my expectations high. Like I have my expectations real low. I expect something to happen. So this is actually my favorite time of the year. I love digging into the draft stuff. That's my passion is doing the prospect stuff. So like right now, this is actually my favorite time. The worst time is actually when we hit the field and then the product comes out. But yeah, look, if I'm being honest, until the leadership up top changes, guys, I'll say it now, until Stephen Ross is gone, this is kind of what's going to happen. Like the misconception in the NFL that winning is everything. No, man, the money is everything. And the setup he has now, and we mentioned Garfinkel, I mean, you see what he's done with that business. The winning's icing on the cake. Does he want to win? Of course. He wants to win the Super Bowl. I don't doubt that. And he's a good owner. He opens his checkbook, all that good stuff. But he likes his setup now, man. And we think that, because they're not winning. Listen, being relevant, I think when they stop being relevant, and that's the one thing that'll happen. If like the big plays are gone, Tua's not there anymore, Tyreek, when they stop being relevant is when Ross is going to have an issue, because then that's when the money could start, stop flowing in. But 9 wins and relevant, nobody's leaving, and that's just the truth,
Well, on Tua's way, I think has PTSD of Tua running every time he runs. No! With a little bit of weight, I kind of feel safer. We all have friends in the media, of course. In one way or another, we follow some in the media, on the local media in Miami and the national media. But I want to know your thoughts on the national media per se. We talk so much about the Stephen A. And everybody, those guys like that, about the Dolphins scrutiny. Do you think that the scrutiny is fair when they talk about the Dolphins? I want to start with Brittany. Brittany, the national landscape during the season, every time the Dolphins do something, is magnified, but other team doesn't. It's not so big deal. So, do you think there's a bigger scrutiny in the Dolphins? And do you have an opinion why?
If you asked me this question going into last season, I would have said the media is so screw them. Going into this season, after what we saw last season, I said, we deserve all of it. Like, give us more. They need to hear it. Like, everyone should be put in timeout. Everyone needs to be yelled at. Like, get it together. So, yeah, I think we deserved every single thing we heard. Every single bit we heard. We deserved it all.
How about you, Jason?
Yeah, last year, because Brittany, you're right, and it's almost like I don't like being negative. I like being positive. I like putting on that spin, but I also like not sounding like a moron. I think last year, once they had Hard Knocks, the whole nation was like, all right, these guys think they're going to the championship. They think they're the best team in football. They're the in vogue team.
We were.
We were. And then they started to, we got big heads.
We got injured.
We got injured fine, but then the losing happened after the injury. They got destroyed in the playoffs, and then this year happened. Started with the Titans game. We could all go back to that absolute miserable last 2 minutes where everything could have changed if we won that game. But you know what? From that, the Hard Knocks thing was just, I'm just referencing it because I think that it was like a Hollywood mindset before you did anything to get to Hollywood. It would have been great to win and then bring the crew in to do the repeat. I just thought that we fell off too hard, and everything that's happened to us, I don't want to say is deserved, but yeah, they're going to look at the team who hasn't won, the only team that hasn't won a playoff game in a quarter century, essentially, and we tried to do all these things to put us right back at the precipice of elite football teams by signing a wide receiver, by trading for a wide receiver, by drafting the right quarterback in a quarterback-heavy draft. And right now, is he the right quarterback in that selection process for us? Jury is still out. I'm rooting for him, but we deserve the national scrutiny, I think. I really do.
How about you, Adrian? Do you think that that's fair, the scrutiny on the Dolphins from the national media and maybe sometimes even the local media?
Absolutely, man. Until we stop doing the stuff that we do, we're going to keep getting it. And they need to hear it all. They need to hear it all, man.
Yeah.
Until something changes and we start playing better on the field and start coaching better on the field and start picking better players, from the top down, man. We all need to hear it. So I'm fine with it.
How about you, George? I'm sorry. Please go ahead, Jason.
No, if it ain't broke, fix it. But if it's broke, fix it. It's a very easy logic right there. Very easy logic.
Yeah.
How about you, George? Is it good to be fair?
A lot of it we brought on ourselves, right? And look, when you're a team that has signed all these big name players, spent all this money, you haven't won a playoff game, and you guys seen that graphic that goes around, right? The teams that we're the only one that hasn't won a playoff game in so many years. You earn it. And sometimes we do evaluate things in a vacuum. All teams get criticism, so you also got to be careful that we evaluate in a vacuum our own team. Though we get punished, but we brought a lot on ourselves, man. A lot of dumb things.
And I do want to add one thing is we get he's frozen on my end. I don't know if he's frozen on yours. I don't want to interrupt him if he's still talking.
Please go ahead.
I'm done. My connection's horrible.
I'm so sorry, George.
It's okay.
I do want to say when we, not so much the mainstream media, but more so Dolphin fan base is they say like Tua can't play in the cold. I think it's the team. The team can't play in the cold. Green Bay game, how many missed tackles did we have? 22. That was like the most ever in the league. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing, guys? So I do think that sometimes Tua takes the brunt of everything, and I think you need to take a step back and kind of if you're going to go after Tua, make sure you also include everybody else. That's what I have to say.
Let me add. Brittany makes an excellent
Please.
point there. It's not. I think it's more the teams they're playing. Look at all the teams we're playing. They're like playoff teams in the cold. The majority of them. It's more that than anything. It's the opponents. I mean, I know the Jets game, but that was kind of like they looked at the scoreboard. They saw what was going on. We know Tyreek quit, whatever. But it's more the opponents that they're playing. Like they're losing those games in a neutral field probably. So yeah, I agree. The Tua can't throw in cold weather stuff. I think it's like wind bothers Tua, not 30-degree weather. Wind would bother him. Brittany makes an excellent point there.
How about you, Steve? Before I ask one last question to Jason. I want to go to your thoughts, Steve.
No, we can't be upset. We can be, but you're an idiot. We can't be upset when the media loves us, when we're doing great things on the field, and then be pissed off when the spades are being called spades and the crap that they are when they're putting crap on the field. And the reality is that flash, finesse, surprise, when executed well, is short-lived. The Wildcat took the league by storm. Next year, they're like, we're on to you, and they shut it down. The flash, the speed, the fastest show on surf, that worked for a while until it didn't. And then 2024, it sure as hell didn't work. And McDaniel was thinking, hey, I'm just going to run it back again. And the rest of the league is like, no, you're not.
And he did nothing to fix it.
Nothing at all to fix it. So I don't think that there's anything wrong with that at all. And to somebody else's point that said it here, I want them to be louder. I want them to be every day in the face of this organization saying, you are not good enough. You guys are really disappointing. So maybe somebody that, I don't know if we've had the conversation so many times in the past, will McDaniel ever change, his stripes? I don't know. But I don't bring it. We earned it. We deserve it. Keep on bringing it.
And that's going to be the talk.
Tried that with Tua, and that didn't work out too well. So,
and that's going to be probably the topic of our April, one of the April shows. If Mike Madden can change his stripes. Before we go to the next segment, let's try to keep a little bit funny, a little bit positive. That's what we do. Jason, I'm going to ask you one question. This is to you. If the Dolphins off-season controversies were a sitcom, what would be the title and what would be the main characters?
The title would be Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yes, I do. You were close to that.
And what would the main character be? Who would the main character be?
Yeah, Mike Madden has to be a character for sure.
I mean, yeah, sure. Let Mike be the main character. He'd be the comedic guy, and you'd probably have Stephen Roth's got to be in there. He'd be the Stein.
I thought you were going to say Stephen Roth. Like, we get a burn. Is that guy that keep bringing
Curb Your Enthusiasm
to the party.
That'll be the title. Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Let's go next to the Dolphins confidence meter. Well, let's keep this thing moving to go to the finish. We're going to go around the panel here, and one question. After a week of free agency going to the NFL draft, how do you feel going to the NFL draft? What are your expectations? Low, medium, or high? I think I know the answer on this, so I'm going to start with George. George, what are your expectations after 1 week of free agency going to the draft? Low, medium, or high? And why?
Low. I said it earlier. I wanted them. They didn't attack the offensive line. They have nobody. Like, who's starting right now next to Calais Campbell? I think they have this plan. They're waiting for Campbell to make a decision, but that's a mistake. I think they weren't aggressive enough in spots where they've left themselves open a little too much. And anybody who knows me and watches the show with Jason and I, you reach for a player like a la Austin Jackson in 20. That's when you make mistakes in your franchise, and they're kind of in the position now that what are they doing at defensive tackle? Like, it has to be a defensive lineman at 13. There's time left, but as of today, very low confidence. I didn't see enough. I also wanted them to do a little more in the personnel change to get some more physicality, because to beat that shell 2-eye coverage, you got to be able to run the ball, and I still haven't seen enough of a change up front or the running back position to kind of show me they're going to do that. But low is my answer.
Absolutely. How about you, Adrian? After 1 week going to the NFL draft, what are your predictions of the Dolphins? Low, medium, or high?
Super low, man. That's all I got.
Yeah.
It's low. It's so low.
What's below low? Low.
The better question should be, how many rounds do you think that will do good? I have us going up to 4 rounds, and I have Mike McDaniel getting us a running back at the 4th round. Everything from then on is just garbage. I don't know.
How about you, Jason?
Like I said earlier, the 2020 draft, they had 10 picks, 11 picks. I think they made 11 selections. They have a lot of picks. They're not out of any round other than the 6th. They have multiple picks in a couple of rounds. You should go into this draft with high expectations, but mine are medium. I'm nervous because the first round, you could, like we said before, I would love to see him change up his habits, maybe get the best guard available, but that's too early. He's not going to do that. He's probably going to
go corner.
Give us James. You guys will take it and you'll like it.
That's basically what it is. It's like feeding the kids their vegetables. Here are your vegetables. You're not going to have dessert until I say. But if he goes cornerback, okay, not bad. If he goes defensive tackle, okay, not bad. But then you better go offensive line in the second to fill that 5th spot that's vacant right now on the offensive line. But then wait a minute. What about the safety? What about a Y inline tight end? What about another?
We have so many holes.
Exactly.
So many holes.
Yes.
So if they changed up their mindset a little bit this free agency and maybe retained another player or two from last year, this draft could have been, all right, best player available. We're going to hit 3 or 4 studs. And who cares what happens day 3? No, they have to be so razor sharp perfect with these picks that they need to get 7 guys who are going to be potential viable players for the next 3 to 4 years. And the chances of that is so low. So low.
Super low.
But you're medium.
I am medium because of the amount of pick. So you have more of a chance to get a couple of better players other than the couple of drafts where they've had 4 picks that started in the 3rd round.
More chances to mess them up too, though, Jason.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. But you have your 1st, your 2nd, your 3rd, 2 4ths, 2 5ths. You have the
He
picks.
will somehow disappoint a lot of us.
Which is why I'm not going high. But if they had 6 picks and it started in the 2nd, no 3rd, 2 4ths, 2 7ths, I'd be zero confidence. But he has the ability, and I wish he would have done this better in 2022. In 2020. You got to move up and down the board. If you have 10 picks, if you can move back to 20, get another 2nd or 3rd rounder, and then if you see a player at like 29 or 32, forget it. Run up and get him. Draft 2 players in the top of the 1st. Get him for 5-year control, and then you have 6 draft picks. I'm okay with that. Be creative. Be creative. I'm going to leave a little bit of a shadow of a doubt. There could be 10 pick every round in there, pretty much creativity. But we're talking about.
No one did that better than Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson was so good with the Dolphins, moving up and down the board, and so many trades. He was so good.
Give me a Jimmy Johnson mentality.
Yeah. Steve, I see you doing the kind of face that your melting face. What are your thoughts? What are your expectations going to the round? Low, medium, or high?
I love a really good comedy, and Schitt's Creek is one of my favorites of all time.
I love Schitt's Creek so much.
Absolutely love it. But
So
the
good.
Miami Dolphins are the Rose family. 2023, they were high on the hog, and all of a sudden, here comes the government, and government is 2024 to where we are right now, and where Dolphins are living rent-free, literally, in a motel, buying everything on IOU credit. And we're scraping barrels. We're trying to figure it out. To George's and everybody else's, point afterward, we addressed defensive line up front. our defensive backfield has holes. Flip the script. We address defensive backfield. Then who do we got? Next to Sealer.
Yep.
I just think that there are so many holes, and we could go back and say, if they'd only done things differently. You know what? The worst thing they ever did was they did that stupid move from third back to here, up to here to grab Waddle, and that just screwed everything because that's when he started running up credit and writing checks that their asses couldn't cash. So, and we're now reaping the benefits of that, and the benefit is, a Jeff Fisher special in perpetuity of 500. Because we have odd number of games, we can't be 500 anymore, so we'll just be a little bit over, a little bit under. My confidence is low because prove me wrong. Seriously, prove me wrong and go out there and have a stellar draft where you're not saying, hey, we really like this guy's potential. We think that in 2-3 years he's going to be able to contribute. That's freaking great. That does wonders for me. I'm going to die before I see this team win any playoff games. But right now I'm low. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't know.
I'm with Jason. I'm at medium. Again, just because what you said. They have so many holes that they probably might find a way to find 3 starters in this draft. So that's they can find the 3 starters. They're having no picks to move on the board. Of course, I'm with Breen on that. They're gonna find a way to find a running back, probably in the 4th or 5th, 6th round. There's no way. They had 4 running backs last year. They're gonna get them.
You know what I want? I want a shock. I want Jackson Dart. Bring me Jackson Dart right now.
Oh, all right.
I don't give a damn what it takes to get him.
Which round?
I don't give a damn. Find him.
It would have to be the first, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not there with Jackson Dart.
This is not a knock on the player and not a knock on you, Steve. But if I see Jackson Dart,
it's because we have holes. We have holes that we need to address first.
Exactly.
I don't care.
This is not the time to do that.
No.
I don't
holes
care.
or no holes. I'm not a Jackson Dart guy at 13.
If they draft a quarterback, that is the number one way of saying that Chris Greer is saying, I got it wrong, and he's not going to do that.
If they draft a no chance. No, we're not wasting our time on it because it's not going to happen.
There's 0 chance they're doing that.
We'll waste time on the next month's episode right before the draft, and I'll have a whole presentation as to why George is wrong and he should be a Jackson Dart fan.
Okay. Oh, good. I'm on. Book me for that show.
It's good.
All right.
I like Jackson.
I think we just found our 4th Steve for that show. So let's go to the big finish. That's what Chris Greer does. It's a part of the show we can curse now, so if you want to curse me, it's open. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We're on YouTube at youtube.com/@FinsTV_, and on X at FinsTV_, Instagram at FinsTV_TV_, and at Facebook at Facebook.com/FinsTVFB/. I want to start with George. George, you have a program tomorrow with Jason. You've been running rampant to the whole draft. I want to plug your show. You're doing a great job with that draft stuff.
All right, thank you. Tomorrow, Thursday we're on. Actually, not tomorrow. 8 p.m. Eastern. We're going through the cornerback group. This is the biggest need. Last week we did. What did we do, Jason? Last week the offensive line. Offensive line. We went through like 18 players, man. I own scouting reports. I got notebook after notebook. It's my favorite time of the year. We're going to break down the cornerback group and probably about 15 guys. And also we're going to do a mock draft. We're going to do our post-free agency mock draft with Jason and myself. So, yeah, man, check it out, the Fins Faithful podcast, the on-season. I hope you guys like it, man. We put in a lot of work behind the scenes, and I hope you guys – I appreciate it more than anything when people say, oh, you're passionate about it, or I can notice the work you do. To me, that's why I do it, man. I enjoy it. Thank you.
That's why I invited you to the show. I was very impressed with all the work you do behind the scenes, not only with the preparation, with the information for the draft. The way you present that is a great show. Go check it out. Fins Faithful podcast on X, they're on YouTube. Please go there and subscribe. Adrian, the Rainy Day Pod is going strong. Tell us about where you can find you on social media and the Rainy Day Pod.
At Rainy Day Pod on YouTube and all socials, man.
Absolutely. Brittany, the ladies of the Sideline Pod are I think they're, like you said, they're in Cancun, but where you can find your social media, where you can find the Sideline T podcast.
We've come back. We had Omar on our show the other week.
I saw that, yes.
More guests coming on next week. It's a collab. I'll tell you guys about it later on. We have something fun this week. You can find us on YouTube at Sideline T Podcast. You can also find us on Twitter at Sideline T Pod.
Absolutely. Tell Omar it's been 15 years since he blocked me. He can unblock me now. We're cool.
Did he unblock you?
No, he has unblocked me. It's been 13 years only. He blocked me, so it's more like, Jason, you're going strong with George on the Fins Pod. You're part of the Fins TV family. You're going to be back with us to the April War Room episode. But where they can find you on social media, you're great everywhere. You're, like you said, you're everywhere. You don't like me to talk about that, but they can find you on social media, Jason.
Jason_Sarney over at Twitter. Thursday, I'll be on George's pod, the Fins Faithful, on the on season, and love being here with you, Sammy, and the crew here. I always appreciate you guys. So thanks for having me.
Jason, you always remember Tuesdays are Fins for Fins TV, so no commitments anywhere.
Anytime for you, buddy.
let's go to the chat. Again, thank you for Sherry for joining us. Of course, Sherry Hallett, part of the Fins TV crew. She was joining us on the chat. Cosa Nostra and Cap for Life are fans of the year, as always. Thank you, guys. We'll be back on April for our War Room episodes. We're going to have a War episode before the draft and one after. We're going to do our simulation for the draft. We're going to have a role-playing basically game where we're going to have a general manager, coach, and owner. What's your role, Jason? I forgot which was the role we had. Director of play operations. That's right.
Again.
You're going to be the general manager. No, you're not the general manager. You're the director of football operations, right?
Yeah, I'll throw that title in there.
Okay, and Steve's going to be the general manager, so we're going to have some rumble over there. And after the draft, we're going to reconvene with the Fins TV crew and probably a special guest to go over the results of the draft. And so we're going to have a show before the draft and the Tuesday after the draft. Guys, I want to thank you, Brittany. Thank you for joining us. It's been great. You do a great job with the ladies over there on Sideline T Pod. George, you have friend for life here in Fins TV. Now you're part of the Fins TV family. So hopefully you join us next time. Adrian, again, you two are part of the Fins TV family. And of course, my brother, my co-host, Steve Hallett. Steve, we're a little rusty today after a month of those shows, but I think we pulled it through.
I think it was an outstanding show. George, really, really appreciate you coming on here, making the time with us, and it was great meeting you. Get more time this one. Happy to have you. Jason and Adrian, always love seeing you guys. Thanks for making the time. Thanks for making this.
Thank you.
Show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having me on.
Thank you so much, Steve and Sammy.
Absolutely. And always remember, we'll be right back in March for the two shows before that after the draft. Thank you guys all. And remember also, when you stay in Miami, you always, no matter what, you look at Super Bowl.
Bye, everyone.
Thumbs up.
Thanks for watching Fins TV. Please like and subscribe. Fins up.